See only some 40 girls here. Janani, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Girls, I think you should have your official names, girls. 20 maths, 45 yaar. When ma'am joins, I want all of you to keep your videos on. Okay, we need to take photographs of this program. So at that time, all of you please switch on your videos. Ma'am join panna odne enak sollu Shiny ma'am illa Vanitha ma'am.
Sure, ma'am.
I'll just welcome them and then we'll start with the formal prayer. YouTube link check panningla yarada?
Yes, ma'am. We have checked, ma'am.
Fine?
Yes, ma'am. It's telecasting, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. We have 5 more minutes. When the program starts, please switch on your videos. Welcome, Preeti. Okay, before we start this program, there's one thing I wanted to share with you people. This was a program that we conceived because during the pandemic time, a lot of people have questions on how to build immunity. Because now you know what the situation is and everybody says we should have immunity. But what is this immunity? How do we develop this immunity? There are a lot of questions regarding this. And there are also questions regarding herbal treatments which are being offered. Are they effective? Should we have them? Should we not have them? So to solve all these issues, we thought we'll call a nutritionist, and who better than a person who was a part of WCC, who is an alumna of our college. So we planned this program to be an awareness program on building immunity. So that is why we are not giving e-certificates or we are not generating any feedback link. So participants kindly excuse, there won't be any feedback link which will be shared with you. But next we will be organizing another program shortly in which the feedback link would be given and you would be given certificates. A national webinar will be planned shortly. But for this particular program, there's no feedback link, nor is there going to be any e-certificate. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Has Vanitha ma'am joined?
Ma'am, Shiny ma'am has joined, ma'am.
Shiny. Welcome, Shiny. Thank you for accepting our invite at such short notice. Can you hear me, Shiny?
Ma'am, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Yeah. I said it's such a pleasure to be here. My alma mater, so it's such a pleasure to be invited. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Can I share the slide, ma'am, to just check?
Yeah, Janani, please share the slide to ma'am. You're visible, you're audible.
Okay, great, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. So we just wait for 2 more minutes. We'll start with VANEETHA. We'll start with a small prayer. But before that, we're waiting for the NSS coordinator, Madras University, to join us. So she'll address the girls for 10 minutes and then you'll take over.
Okay. Can I just check the slide? Can I, will you just give me access to share?
Yes.
Ma'am, you can check, ma'am. We have already given the access. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you've given. Just. Or can I share my slides with you? Is that okay?
I think you can share it to Janani. Janani, who's the one who's doing MCR Pandra? Who will take the slides, girls?
Ma'am,
You want
Andrea is doing MC, ma'am.
No. You want the girls to do the screen shares, Shiny?
Yeah. I changed this is a new laptop. There's some system.
Then you have to forward it to one of them.
Okay, could you just share me an email ID?
Yes, ma'am. I'll post in the chat box, ma'am.
Thank you, dear.
Girls, any one of you will volunteer? What are you all doing? Gone to sleep? Okay, she's shared her ID. Janani.
Okay, I'll be sending it to you now.
Okay.
It's a new laptop.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Where's your chat? So there are 2 mail IDs.
You can share it to Janani Shri.
Sure, ma'am. I'll do it right away.
Okay.
Thank you, Bhavani. Thank you, Janani.
Bhavani has also given her mail ID. Okay, who's going to do it then? Bhavani or Janani?
Ma'am, Sita will share the PPT, ma'am.
Okay, she is.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But ma'am has given to you. You will share it to them, huh?
Yes, ma'am. I'll forward it to her, ma'am.
Okay. Should I make a call to VANEETHA, ma'am? I think I just make one call. If ma'am joins, let me know.
Sure, ma'am.
She's not picking the call. I don't know whether she's in a meeting, but I gave her a reminder of 10 minutes back. She said she's joining.
Janani, I've sent the slides, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Anyways, I'll try again. Let me see what they share us. Are you able to?
Yes, Shiny, we're able to see the screen.
Okay, finally. Okay. Just. Is this visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah.
how stress affects the body. Yes, visible.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
So will you do it by yourself?
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, fine.
I'll just stop sharing for now and wait for ma'am to do it. Yeah. I'll just.
Ma'am has joined. Vanitha ma'am has joined.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, Vanitha ma'am has joined with us, ma'am.
Welcome, ma'am, Vanitha ma'am. Before we actually formally begin the program with a prayer, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Vanitha Agarwal, NSS Coordinator, University of Madras, and Shiny for accepting our invite and agreeing to be a part of this program. Welcome, ma'am. Now, starting the prayer, girls.
Yes, ma'am. Andrea?
Yes. Good evening and a very warm welcome to one and all present here. Today's webinar is on the title Eat Right for Humanity. A day without prayer is a day without blessing. So now I would like to invite Ms. Gauri, coordinator of RRC, to start this webinar with a small prayer.
Our gracious and loving Heavenly Father, we call upon you in this time of illness and challenge. Thank you for keeping us safe in this pandemic. Today, I pray for your presence to be there on this webinar. Bless each and every person who is attending this webinar. Be with us, guide us, and guard us. In Jesus' most precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Gauri. Now I invite Ms. Manushree, Assistant Coordinator of Abstinence, to welcome the guest of honor, Dr. Vanitha Agarwal, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. I'm profoundly delighted to introduce and welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Vanitha Agarwal. Dr. Vanitha Agarwal is an NSS coordinator at University of Madras, Chepauk campus. She has done a bachelor's in electrical engineering, master's in human resource management, and PhD in management. She has 16 years of varied and diverse research, academic, and corporate experience in various institutes. She is a firm believer in inculcating a strong sense of honesty, ethics, and social responsibility in students, which inspires and motivates volunteers to work for the betterment of the society. Dr. Vanitha Agarwal is also an academician, motivational speaker, and an active social worker. She has conducted various programs such as rallies on road safety awareness, slum cleaning projects, organ donation, and awareness campaigns on COVID protocol in places, women's rights, and environmental conservation. Being a yoga enthusiast and marathon runner, she is a strong believer in the idiom, health is wealth. On behalf of NSS WCC, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome ma'am. It's a great pleasure to have you today with us, ma'am. Now I request ma'am to enlighten our volunteers with her precious words.
Welcome, Vanitha ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear us? Oh, ma'am has left. Okay, I think there's some connectivity issue on her end, so she will rejoin shortly. So the girl who's introducing Shiny, will you please start?
Yes, ma'am.
And then we'll ask ma'am to take over. Vaneetha ma'am, once she joins.
Now I invite Ms. Vanshita, Assistant Coordinator of LSP, to welcome the resource person of the day, Ms. Shiny Surendran ma'am.
Good evening. Today we have Shiny Surendran ma'am with us. I'm proud to say that she's an alumna of WCC. She's a holistic nutritionist, author, and an entrepreneur. She's the first Indian to be certified with a graduate diploma in sports nutrition by International Olympic Committee. She is a member of Food Safety and Standards Authority of India's Working Committee on Sports Supplement. She's a certified level 2 kinanthropometrist from ISAC New Zealand and also an accredited sport dietitian from Sports Dietitian Association Australia. She's a member of Board of Studies, Madras University for Home Science. She has been instrumental in preparing syllabus for value-added certificate program for UG and PG home science students. She was a former lecturer in many top universities. She has also appeared on various television and YouTube channels. The goal of all her consultation and guidance is to make her clients understand their body and its needs and to ensure they meet their nutrition objectives in a safe and effective manner. Her mission is to share the transformative power of real food, and that is exactly what she's been doing. Thank you so much for agreeing to come to this webinar. It's a pleasure to have you here, ma'am. On behalf of NSS WCC, I welcome you. Thank you.
Vaneetha ma'am, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. In between, I think I logged out. I'm back.
Yes. It's a great privilege to have you here, ma'am. And I would like to tell you, under ma'am's dynamic leadership, NSS Madras University is doing a great job. On some days, I see ma'am having back-to-back webinars. There are 3 webinars or 4 webinars in a day she's part of in different institutions. She's very busy, but we are very grateful that you would come and talk to our girls at least for a short time, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Anuradha. It's always privileged, and nowadays it's the webinar that has made it possible that I can interact with all my volunteers. You all are doing a great job. And I was so happy to listen to this, that Miss Shiny Chandran, she is the alumni of WCC. It's always a privilege to come back to the alma mater and speak to the students. I've been doing many programs with her. We had a program for yoga for cops, and I know she's a well-established name in the field of nutrition. I'm very thankful to Miss A. Anuradha Women's Christian College for organizing this webinar, Eat Right for Immunity. Whenever we think what is important, we always think it's at this juncture for you, it's the degree. The next will be the job. Next, maybe you want to own a house. But one thing I want to tell you is all these things, you can enjoy only if you have health. That is why the idiom, it is such an old idiom, but still it is health is wealth. And this is what idiom I always imbibe in my life too. Health is number one. Whatever other things that are important you need, they are the zeros that you can add to the number one. So if one is there, you will become 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. But if one is missing, whatever you have, even if you have money, if you have everything you want, you cannot enjoy that. So it becomes nil, zero. So that is where it is very important that we live a healthy life. Last 1 week, 21st June was our yoga day, and all of us had webinars on. We try to learn yoga, we try to understand what are the various aspects of yoga. And the next important thing when we need to have a good health is our food. It is very important we need to understand why, what, when, how, and how much to eat. What is the right food? Now, these things, there are 2 ways to understand this. One is experience. With age, you need to understand. We need to introspect. Okay, yesterday I had this food, because the food, whatever we eat, it impacts our energy, it impacts our thoughts, it impacts our mood, it impacts our behavior. So you will know, okay, today I'm not feeling good, my energy levels are low. The reason is yesterday's food. So that is how over a period of time our experience, our parents' experience, like there are certain things which I have imbibed because my mother told me these are the things which are good. And now in this world, we have so many people who have the wisdom. Like today we have Miss Shiny Surendran. She has the wisdom, she has the knowledge of telling us what is the right food. In today's world, when we have the pandemic, we are living a very stressful life. It is very important to eat the right food. We need to protect ourselves from various illness. And I've seen many people, their chronic illnesses, they can be controlled by modification of diet, by eating the right food. Like migraine, blood pressure, diabetes, these are some of the diseases. We can, like the symptoms we can control by eating medicine. But ultimately, if we want to live a healthy life, we need to change the way we perceive food, the way we think about food. Food is not only to survive, it is also to live a healthy life. Now, what to eat? That is why I have already told you, it is because it impacts the way we speak, the way we interact with others. Sometimes we are angry. I've seen many people, they are always, like most of the time they are angry with others. I feel the problem is because they are not eating the right food. So that is where we have an ancient wisdom which we need to understand. And what food we should eat, again, we have a very good resource person who will tell us what food to eat. But from my experience, I can tell you that it is very important to concentrate on 3 white things: salt, sugar, and refined flour. Salt, generally, we say that we should have as less salt as possible, and then we should switch over to Himalayan salt, that is a mountain salt. Instead of sugar, one thing is eating less sugar, another thing is we can substitute sugar with jaggery. Then refined flour. So that is one thing which we need to avoid. I've seen many times whenever we, like I particularly eat something which is made from refined flour, and then because it doesn't have a fiber, our stomach, it has its own digestive juices. So if we give stomach what it is not able to digest, it will rot. Rot means we will have all sort of problems. So that is where what to eat is very important. Now, what to eat? Eat the things which are locally made, which our grandparents used to tell us, this is good. Fibrous things, fruits, raw salad. Sometimes we overcook the vegetables. That is what we need to avoid. And next aspect is how to eat. Now, this is very important. Whatever we eat, it is very important that we spend some time in eating. We concentrate on what we are eating. We introspect. We chew. Like they say, every bite you should chew for minimum 20 times. Minimum 20 times. Though it is more, that is what is I'm telling minimum. Whenever I feel I am not feeling good or I am having some kind of a stomach problem, the next day what I do is I concentrate on my chewing. I ensure that whatever I eat little less, and whatever I am eating, I chew and chew and chew. They say it should be like water. By the time you swallow your food, it should be like water. And when you are drinking, it should be slow, one sip at a time. There should not be any distraction while you are eating. Some of us have the habit of watching TV and then eating. That is, I feel, it is one of the worst habits we can have. We should concentrate on the food. We should take some time. See how much busy we are. Health is the most important thing. It is, you have to think on a long run. It is not that, okay, I've seen some people, they work so hard, their life is stressful. They don't have time to eat. See, sometimes I feel eating is one of the, eating, breathing, these are two of the most important things that are there in our life. Breathing is very automatic, but we can concentrate on that and that improves our health. Same way, food, sometimes we eat it so automatically, we do not know. Like if you ask somebody what you had yesterday, they will not remember it. And I feel that is the most important thing. Minimum morning, you should spend 10 to 15 minutes minimum on thinking, what will I eat? What nutrients that food has? Whether I am getting the sufficient amount of fiber. If you have stomach problem, it is related to food, because that is what we are putting inside. Whatever we are putting inside, that is the amount of energy we'll get. That will impact our whatever we do in life. If you want to be successful in life, you need to concentrate on what you eat. And that is why today's webinar is very important. Whatever learnings are there. See, I've seen I have completed almost 45 years of my age. And every time I listen to somebody, I read, I introspect, I find something new and which helps me in becoming a better person, in getting more energy, because I am now NSS coordinator. I have to teach also. There are so many things I am doing. So from where I get the energy? From the food, from the right food, what I eat. And food is one which will provide you immunity from diseases. See, you cannot do anything if you are not well. Then when to eat? That is also very important. So I will tell you my story here. When I was in college, so I had to, whenever I had to travel during weekends, I will go to my hometown. So I have to start at 5 o'clock in the morning, and 5 o'clock I will not get any food in the hostel. I will start the journey, and by 6 o'clock I will start, 5 o'clock I will start getting ready, 6 o'clock I will start the journey, and by 12 o'clock I will reach my hometown. And by the time I will go there, I will be so hungry, I will be so tired. And my mom, she is a fabulous cook, and she will say, okay, I will cook food for you by 1 o'clock, and it will be a heavy meal. By 3 o'clock, I will have headache, and my full day is gone. I used to think, why is this happening? I'm coming from the hostel to my hometown, and then I'm not able to enjoy. And then I will tell my mother, my stomach is upset now. I'm not able to, I was not able to relish her food. Then I was thinking, but this is happening only when I am traveling. Is traveling causing that? Then I thought, okay, one day what I did was, the previous day I kept one piece of bread and some butter in my bag. And next day, around 7:30, I had a glass of water. Till that time, I was not carrying any water also. So I started having a water and a bread and some butter and a biscuit. And my problem vanished. And I will go there, I will tell my mother, this meal I will have little, because I'm not used to the 1 week you are used to the hostel food. So I will tell my mother, okay, little bit. And after that, I never got any headache. So these are the things. Whenever you feel you are not feeling well, introspect. And one of the major reasons of our fluctuation in mood, of our fluctuation in energy is the food. You will realize as you introspect that there are certain foods which suit you, which make you feel better. There are certain foods which you eat which reduce your energy. So avoid or reduce the intake of those foods. It is not that you should not enjoy pizza. Even I will have pizza. But rather than having 4 slices of pizza, you have 1 slice of pizza. That is equally good. Put lots of vegetables on the pizza. Have a pizza which is vegetable. Have a base of pizza which is not made of refined flour. It should be made of a multigrain flour also. So you should choose what you eat, and it is not that you cannot eat. One day my daughter said, you always tell me eat this. I want something which is healthy as well as tasty. So that is where we need to have our own food system which is healthy and which is tasty. And that as you grow, you will realize that you can develop your own food style. One thing is, some things we are eating from our childhood and that suits our body. That is what we need to continue eating. Anything that is grown locally, that is also one thing. Organic food is another thing. If you are able to access that, that is very important thing. Then there should be a gap between night. I've seen many people, they will finish their dinner at 11 o'clock and immediately after that they go to sleep. There must be, like for yoga we say, there has any exercise, there has to be a gap between the food we eat and the time we exercise. Same way, there should be a gap between the time we eat the food and we go to sleep. So these are some of the things we can inculcate in ourselves. There's a famous quote: eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a beggar, which says a very light dinner. And our digestive, we say it's our stomach has digestive energy, and generally say it's related to sun. So after sunset, we should not have anything which is very heavy, because I've seen sometimes there's a marriage or a party and we eat late. Next day, I have to eat less so that my stomach doesn't get upset, because that is where our body is used to digest according to the sun. So if we eat late, it impacts our body in a wrong way. So what I always say, you eat whatever you like, but you need to introspect yourself whether the food you are eating is making you the person you want to be. You want to be a healthy person. All of us want to be to have an energy level where we can do whatever we want. We want to play, we want to study, we want to meet our friends, we want to do everything. So that is only possible if we eat the right food. And today's webinar, I'm very happy that today's webinar will tell you what are the things that can be eaten, that will provide you with the nutrients that are available. And I already told you, Miss Shiny Surendran's earlier session also, we had a webinar together, and the inputs you will get, utilize those, implement them, and you will realize there will be a change in the way you are living. You will have a more healthy lifestyle. You will be able to concentrate more on your studies, and you will become what we call it as a well-rounded personality. So eating the right food is very important, and I'm very happy to be part of this webinar, and I congratulate WCC College for organizing this webinar, and I wish all the volunteers here to have a session which will energize you and which you will remember throughout your life, that these are the things I have learned in that webinar, and still I am practicing it even after decades. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I invite Ms. Shiny Surendran ma'am to take over the session.
I think Ms. Shiny, you have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. And thank you, Dr. Anuradha, for having invited me here to address your students. It's such a proud privilege to be here because WCC is my alma mater. And VANEETHA AGARWAL, ma'am, it's so nice to see you here again, and also to hear all that you shared about your childhood and the mistakes you made and what you have learned. And those were pearls of wisdom that you shared with us here. And thank you so much for the acknowledgement, as well as your tips on nutrition. So I would like to share the screen and take things forward. And I request all the students to be interactive. Could you kindly mention which college you're from? I would also like to know if there are academicians here, because I'm just trying to gauge the age group of people who are here. Okay. And also, let's be interactive. So make use of the chat box.
Only 100 of them are here. Rest of them are watching on YouTube.
YouTube. Okay. Fine. So let's dive in. Kindly let me know when you're able to see my slide. If one of you could tell me. Yes? Okay, yeah. Great. So welcome everyone. Okay, so I would like to see the definition of health. Okay, what exactly, according to you, is the definition of health? If you could kindly mention that in the chat box, it will be really helpful. So I'll give you an example. So if you meet someone, who has very clear eyes, and if someone is very, very energetic, you'll say, hey, this person is healthy, correct? Likewise, what are the other terminologies or other ways in which you would actually say a person is healthy or not? So kindly go ahead and type that in the chat box. I'd really like to see your definition. So what I have here on the screen is the World Health Organization's definition of what health is. Health is a complete state of not just your physical health, but also mental and social well-being. I'm sure all of you here would be missing out, going and meeting your friends, going to college, hanging out in a mall or a cinema theater, going out with your family to restaurants and eating. All of us have been cooped up at home since last year. There was a period in between when the lockdown was lifted, we were all outside. But then again, we were back to the lockdown phase, all to save our lives and also to control this pandemic. I know this has been a completely new challenge, which even my grandparents wouldn't have faced. So this became, a big challenge for mental health. And I've seen so many students, parents, as well as grandparents and people in the geriatric age group facing a lot of mental health challenges. So I think this is something that we really have to pay attention to. So if you're free from disease, great, you're healthy, but you should also be focusing on the mental health and also social well-being, which means, do you know your neighbors by name? Do you know how many people live in that house? Do you say hi to them when you happen to bump into them? And do you do any community work, which is being part of NSS and also being part of your church community or temple, or else, it could even be the mosque, or it could be any kind of group activity where you are out there contributing that bit for the community. Okay, so social well-being is also very, very important. So when you cover all these three aspects, we call that good health. So that's what the World Health Organization says. Now, immunity is something which has been talked about. You've heard this name several times. You're bombarded with this kind of information, kabasara kudineer, and then kashayams and tulasi and pepper rasam and whatnot, right? You've been bombarded with this information the past 1.5 years through all sorts of media. Even if you're making a phone call, not a WhatsApp call, a direct call, there's a lot of information out there when you're dialing. So you just need to understand what can we do to take care of our immune system. And how do we know whether we have a very weak immune system? If you're falling sick too often, if someone coughs or sneezes, and the next day you are down with a cough and cold, then there are very good chances that your immunity is not really great. Next thing is also chronic fatigue, that you don't have energy to sit and study or to even grasp a concept that your teacher is conveying or teaching. Also, no energy for assignments or any kind of these, day-to-day activities that you face as a student. Or you could be a teacher here who has this kind of energy. Like you have energy for like the first half of the day, and then post-lunch, your energy really slumps and you really find it difficult unless you drink a cup of coffee or tea. Okay. And also seasonal allergies. Or it could be a lack of recovery from exercise. If you do any tough exercise, the next day, you tend to skip the exercise and you're not able to bring yourself to do some kind of workout. And you need another extra day to recover to actually get back to the routine. If this is happening too often at your age, then definitely your immunity really needs to be checked. And next thing is also having trouble waking up in the morning. So if you sleep well, if you have a deep, restful sleep, it is a sign of good health. And that sleep actually takes care of a lot of hormonal issues. You must have heard about PCOS. Right? How many of you have heard of PCOS? Please type S in the chat box. If you have heard about it, say yes. If you haven't, if you're not familiar, say no. Because among the teenagers, this is the biggest problem that they are facing. And I get to see a lot of students having this issue. Not just students, even adult women having these issues. So PCOS is another thing. So hormone, the connection is there for sleep-wake cycle. And also constipation. So first thing in the morning, if you're able to wake up and if you're able to cleanse your bowel without taking a tea or coffee, okay, then in that case, it indicates that you have a fantastic body. Okay, that is what it means. So bowel movement is also very crucial. And in case you have skin conditions, or else if you have trouble sleeping, all this could indicate that there could be something wrong with the immunity, and perhaps you need to look a little deeper. So what are the factors which actually can mess up with your immunity? It could be stress and anxiety, constant stress, okay, and also anxiety. Alcohol intake for some of the people, adults who indulge in alcohol intake. Lack of sleep. So if you're binge watching shows in Netflix or Amazon or Z5 or Hotstar or just plain YouTube, you could just end up watching a lot of shows in one night, right? 3 to 4 or 5. Or sometimes you're out there to finish one season. So that could be a very big challenge for sleep. And you could end up going to bed at around 1 o'clock or sometimes even 3 a.m. And the next morning you could have some online classes. So which means you're very groggy and you're not able to pay attention to the class. Now, when this happens over a period of time, this can also affect your immunity. Next is, of course, the unhealthy diet. See, it's just like having a fantastic car. Say, for instance, you have a Mercedes-Benz or also BMW, or it could be any fancy car. And if you don't put the right kind of fuel into your vehicle, what would happen? Or if you put the wrong fuel into your vehicle, what could happen? Likewise, if you're not eating healthy foods, or if you're displacing healthy food with some junk, you get empty calories. You would always have some kind of deficiency. And you could easily see that in your skin, hair, and of course, immunity. You would fall sick often. Dehydration is another important factor. So I'm not talking about tea, coffee here. It's about buttermilk, coconut water, lemon juice, herb tea, or else kashayam, all of those things. Those are the ones which you really need. And of course, lots of plain water, especially because we live in Tamil Nadu, we live in Chennai, and that's the biggest challenge that we're facing with humidity. Okay, so dehydration is also very important. And lack of exercise also contributes to a weakened immune system. Very, very crucial to exercise, because as you exercise, you will see that your lung capacity improves, you have better cardiovascular endurance, you have muscular strength, and fantastic posture, gait, and immunity also enhances. And plus, you can defy age. If there's someone who actually eats healthy and then also exercises, trust me, you will look younger by 10 years easily than your counterparts who are not doing it. So look at your batchmates. You guys keep every year take photographs, and after 10 years, you see how each one of you look. Okay, so if you are someone who sets aside the time to eat healthy and also to exercise, at least that half an hour every single day, consistency is what matters a lot. Now, and look at yourself after 10 years and see where you are. Smoking also makes a big difference. Stress is something which can affect every part of your body. Stress to some extent is okay, which means when you have a deadline for an examination or the submission of an assignment, that is eustress, which is positive stress. Unless a day is given, you would keep dragging that assignment and you will never bring yourself up to complete the assignment, right? So that is good stress. But then if you have prolonged stress, if you don't know when your exams are going to be, or perhaps if you're constantly thinking of, oh, I plan to go abroad, but then this pandemic has put brakes on my entire plans to go abroad or have a vacation or something that I want to do or have a great birthday party, any of that. But if you're constantly running that like a tape in your head, that's going to cause a lot of stress, and that's not good for you. And it's a lot of pressure on all these organs, and it will start affecting your health in a big way. So please do pay attention. Exercise really helps alleviate any kind of harmful effects of stress. That is one. Next thing is also meditation, or else dancing. It could be an online Zumba class, or it could be even some freestyle dance. Any kind of activity that gives you a lot of joy. You could even play a sport. So we always talk about lifestyle modification, right? So what exactly is lifestyle modification? The idea is to make sure that you eat healthy, understand how much you need to eat, what you need to eat, how often you can eat. Okay, so these are factors which are very, very important. What to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, how often to eat. If you figure this out for your height, weight, age, and gender, you're pretty much sorted for life as far as nutrition is concerned. Okay, so this is one aspect. Next thing is about getting enough sleep. So if you have a 10-story building, the contractor or else the architect will make sure that the foundation is pretty strong. right? So if you're going to build those 10 stories, the foundation is going to be nice and deep and strong so that it will really help you keep the building there for several hundred years to come. So the foundation is nothing but the sleep that we are talking about. So if you have any wellness goal, so I keep telling my clients, whether it's a 6-pack abdomen that you want, or you want to chisel your body and have a nice slim waist, or else a well-toned arm, or you want to shed some weight, or even reverse your hormonal condition like PCOS, the first thing that I say is pay attention to the time that you go to bed. It's about going to bed at 10 o'clock and waking up at 6 o'clock. That time is crucial. It's not about 8 hours of sleep. When you hit the bed at a particular time, and if you're in alignment with the circadian rhythm, okay, if you're in alignment with nature, then automatically all your hormone problems will get sorted out. This is very, very, very important. There's been a lot of research. Drink more water, lots of physical activity, and of course, not necessarily meditate. It can even be some calming technique. It could be yoga for you, or it could be just listening to music or playing with a pet. It could be anything that really calms your mind and gives you a lot of peace. It can even be some craft, some activity that you're doing. For some, even ironing clothes could be like meditation, or gardening. Okay, so pick yours. And in the chat box, if you could tell me what gives you that sense of peace. Is it your art and craft, painting, or gardening, or playing with a pet, or just sitting there and just admiring nature? I would like to see some in your chat box. Okay, so during the pandemic, so you can see the paper, Times of India article, July 24th, 2020, 70% of the patients admitted with COVID were either overweight or obese. So this was something that really shook a lot of people. And then they started reaching out to dietitians for a lot of customized diet plans. So this has an impact, because we are going through this pandemic. I think all of us really need to pay attention to this. Another factor is irrespective of age. So even children who are obese have this kind of risk factor. So it's very crucial. So look around in your family. It could be your parents, uncles, aunts, niece, nephew, okay, your siblings, your brothers and sisters. If anyone is going through a challenge, I think this will be the best time for them to make small tweaks in their diet and in lifestyle. And you can really help yourself and prevent a lot of unnecessary stress in terms of going to the hospital, or in case when someone falls sick, then there's a lot of stress in the family. And not just that, also the kind of financial strain that it brings. So if you want to save on medical bills, and if you really want to go on with your life without any kind of interruption, your health should be with you. That's a very important aspect. Not just now as a student, but later when you take up your career, make sure that you're paying attention to it. Otherwise, there'll be unnecessary breaks in your career. So obesity in adults, it's not just about height and weight. Okay, it's not just about checking your weight all the time. So I have clients who would check their weight after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they'll call up and say, "Oh, I gained 200 grams. I gained 500 grams." That's very, very unhealthy. You can one needs to understand it's about body composition. It's not about weighing scale. Yeah, that's what I was trying to convey. So the idea is to make sure that one has a slimmer waist, because we Indians, as a population, have a tendency to accumulate a lot of fat around our waist. The individual might appear very thin. Okay, legs and arms will be very thin, but then the midsection, the trunk, the truncal portion will be quite big. So we have a tendency to be obese, or rather accumulate a lot of fat, which we call as metabolically obese. So focus on that aspect, and that is the most important factor. Childhood obesity,